about my hardy hibiscus. So I want to start over here with this one. This one is called Copper King. Now about, am I in the frame?
Yeah.
All right. About 15 years ago maybe, this flower came out, and hardy hibiscus had been in the nursery trade for a while, but it did not have this bronze foliage. So Copper King was the first one to get the bronze foliage, but it had still the white flowers on it. But back in my old house, I had a lot of these, and it was very exciting because you know, to good garden design is having contrasting foliage types. I talk about this all the time. Contrasting foliage colors, contrasting foliage shapes, contrasting foliage textures. And so by being able to have something with just beautiful showy flowers that also ticks the box of having burgundy foliage that works well. You can see this is a little yellow leaf butterfly, but you can see the contrast there works well when you put burgundy next to yellow. So that was a very exciting plant, but it had these white blossoms. I also have this one here. This was later. This one came out maybe 10 years ago. This is called Berry Awesome, and it's kind of purpley, more like a wine cranberry color, kind of purpley. This is the purpliest one. That's not even a word, but it's okay. This is the purpliest one that I know of in the hardy hibiscus, and the leaves on it are a little greener. They're a little greener than Copper King was, a little greener. But this is called Berry Awesome. Now I personally really like purple flowers. My wife tends to like red ones, but I'm into the purple. Then we have Midnight Marvel, and Midnight Marvel came out around the same time as Berry Awesome, and this one is surely my favorite until recently. It gets bigger. You can see it's bigger than the last two, so this one gets really big, which is nice. Covered in blooms, and they are red blooms, and it's got foliage between the two, and it's kind of got this cut in foliage too. Originally hardy hibiscus had more rounded foliage, and they started getting these cut in shapes here like this, and so that makes it a little more interesting, almost like a lace leaf maple, kind of slightly a little bit. So this was Midnight Marvel, which is a wonderful plant, and you can usually find these at big box stores. They're very popular. But I want to show you a few more that I have, so we're going to walk this way. So I here have another Berry Awesome, and I just wanted to show this one here. I was just walking by, I'm like, I have to show them this. This is a Venus Heliopsis. So you look at this. This is in the sunflower family. It's a perennial, but look at how vibrant the yellow is and how nicely it plays off the hibiscus. Hibiscus does not come in yellow, but this very yellow blooms at the same time. So I only have one of these, but I'm gonna get more. I'm gonna plant them near my hibiscus because I really like this combination of the two flowers together at the same time. And I think with the red blossoms of Midnight Marvel or Holy Grail, which I'm going to show you still, that this yellow will contrast nicely and it'll be a very nice effect. All right, so this is another Midnight Marvel here, and look at it. It doesn't look great, does it? So hardy hibiscus has several common names. You might hear the name rose mallow or swamp mallow or swamp hibiscus. Now the word swamp gives us a clue, right? Swamps are fetid, they're moist soil. These guys like moist soil. This spot here on my property is very, very dry. It gets full sun, and by full sun, I don't mean 8 hours of sun. I don't mean 6 hours of sun. I mean basically it gets sun from sunrise to sunset. So 12, 10 hours of sun, it just beats down here. The second problem with this spot for this plant is that there's not any shade of the root ball. Once this gets bigger and it gets more fuller, or if I crowded it, this is one time where crowding a plant's helpful. If I crowded this with other plants, the shade provided to the root zone would keep it cooler and allow the plant to thrive. Instead, this plant, which is I think 2 years old, possibly 3, but I think 2. This one spends so much of its energy and moisture just keeping the leaves from wilting. It doesn't have a lot of energy, it doesn't have a lot of moisture for growth, so it's not getting very big. It will get there eventually, but this whole bed needs more irrigation, and it needs to fill in. It needs to fill in. Oh, this bed does. But so you can see these guys, their growth is highly dependent on how much attention you give them, how much husbandry they have. You give them a lot of water, you give them a lot of fertilizer, and you give them sun as long as they have the moisture, and they'll grow really big. And they also like loose soil. If you dig one of these up, the roots are very fibrous. They're big. They have big fibrous roots. And like anything with a big root, like think of like a sweet potato or something. Though it's not like a sweet potato, but think it needs to, for that root to grow, it has to be loose soil. If it's hard, dense soil, clay, rocky, the root's kind of constricted. It can't grow and spread out, and that can also reduce plant vigor. So this soil here is also very bad soil. It's very clay, very hard. This is just fill dirt from when we were building our house, and so that's also a reason why this one is a little stunted. Again, it will get there eventually. It's just not going to get there yet. So that was this one, and I'm going to show you a couple more, and you can just go and keep filming. We'll just walk over here. You can tell how hot it is out and how hot it has been by my elephant ears here, which are totally wilting. All right, so this one here, this is again a Midnight Marvel. I got another one right over here. You get this one in? Right there, It's another Midnight Marvel, got two of them. These ones are getting tall, they're getting big, aren't they? Notice how dense I got these planted here. I got this milkweed here, I got some ornamental grass, I got the giant elephant ear here. So these guys, they are planted, they're at least 3 years old. That one was 2, I think these ones are at least 3. They get a little more water up here. This soil is a little better because I amended some of this soil in this area. And also they get shade. They get shade around the root zone. So the ground dries out less quickly and they're able to spend more of the water that they take up on growth versus just preventing leaf wilt. So you can see how big and healthy these ones are. And these are actually the biggest these ones have ever gotten for me. I'm 6'5", so this is 6 feet easy. Some of these are over 6 feet. So they're big. So this is a plant that every winter will die. It will die back to the ground, and you'll have these very almost white branches sticking up. Some point during the winter you need to cut those back. It's very easy. They can snap in your hands. They're not very strong. Cut them back, haul them off. They're unsightly. And then in the spring, your hardy hibiscus will not emerge early. It's one of the later perennials to emerge. It's a perennial plant. It's an herbaceous perennial, even though it looks like a bush. It's an herbaceous perennial, and it's one of the last ones to emerge. So don't give up on it. But for me in May, but I remember in Michigan when I lived there, it was June. And these are, by the way, hardy from zones 4 to 9, so that covers almost the entirety of the country. In Michigan, they came out for me in June. Down here in Chattanooga, Tennessee, it's more like May. But they are later to emerge than most other perennials, but they are alive and they do well. And just the only real care is to cut back that dead growth every winter after the plant dies back down. Now I want to show you one more of these, and then we're done. All right, we're back again, and again here is yet another Midnight Marvel. This is the largest one I own, and you can't even tell how big it is. I mean, it's 6 feet tall. I feel like it's 8 feet wide. Do you think this is 8 feet wide? It's huge. Back behind there is my generator, and you can't really see it. This was supposed to hide the generator, and it's really doing that this year. And it is the biggest hardy hibiscus I have ever grown. And I think 2 things are working for it. Well, 3 things. 1, this soil here is really good soil. I had this soil brought in, like special soil brought in and filled in this area after I built my house. And then it's right up against the generator pad. So generator pad's a concrete pad, generator sits on it. Underneath there's nothing, right? So often you'll see the grass that's close to a sidewalk grow better than the grass further out, because the grass that's really close to the sidewalk can send roots under the sidewalk where there's no competition, right? So I believe that this guy is sending roots under the generator pad where there's no competition, and it's getting a lot of resources from down there. And then also just in general, as I water this bed, which I have done more this year, this guy has benefited immensely from that. So this shows you how big they can get with the right kind of husbandry and the right kind of attention. Again, this is Midnight Marvel, which is the largest one of these I have grown. The other ones don't seem to get as big, but man, this guy is huge. He's covered. He only started blooming a couple days ago. So you can see, like here, there's like 10 blossoms, and there's like 10 here. Like it's hundreds, easily hundreds of blossoms on this guy that are gonna appear. So it's just so showy. It's so nice to have a plant that is this showy. Have a plant that's this showy and big, so useful for screening and interesting foliage and everything. That's carefree, pest problems, disease problems. It's super easy to grow, and it has like the interesting foliage too. Although you can see on Modern Marvel, it's green. It's more green. It's mottled. There's some mottled burgundy in there, but it is more green. But there is one other one I want to show you, and it's right over here. This is Hibiscus Holy Grail. This one is brand new. It was new, I think, last year. So let's see, 2019. I think this is a 2019 introduction. Okay, so this guy does not get as big for me as Midnight Marvel. Now, this is younger. I planted this last year, so this is 1 year old. 1 year old. That's older. So that could be explaining why. I also had to transplant this once. That could be explaining why. But generally, just my view of it, it doesn't seem to get as big as Midnight Marvel. It does, however, have redder leaves. The leaves are more reliably red, and they get red more reliably in the sun. The more sun exposure, the more red the leaves. And in full sun, which this one gets a little shade, in full sun, the leaves are 100% burgundy, straight 100% burgundy. So this is supposedly an improvement in redness from Midnight Marvel. Growth pattern, Midnight Marvel seems to form like a V, like a vase shape. It goes up like that. This one seems to form more like a globe for me. See how it's wider than it is tall? So it's slightly different growth habit. But I also really like this one. And right next to it, I've got two, which you can see. These are Grand Cascades butterfly bushes. And I just want to show you this for a second, in case you've never seen this. This is a Grand Cascade butterfly bush flower. Do you see how long this is? This is 16 inches long. Now, Black Knight is probably the most popular butterfly bush in the trade, because it's dark purple, people like that color, and it's been sold at garden centers, big box stores for years. Black Knight flowers are like this long, right? Grand Cascade, this long. Look how big this is. All right, and it blooms the same time here as the hibiscus, so I did this on purpose, putting the two roughly the same size shrubby plants next to each other, same bloom period, different bloom colors, different textures. Just one of the things I did. So I also highly recommend butterfly bush Grand Cascade. It's a nice plant. All right, so I think I covered everything there on hardy hibiscus. I really like these. I've always grown these in my garden for nearly 20 years. They're super easy to grow. They're super showy. They fill a space. You want a nice garden looks full. You want to see your mulch. Mine's still a young garden, but generally speaking, nice mature garden. Can't even see the mulch. That should be your goal. And this really accomplishes that. So I am very happy with the hibiscus. I recommend it to pretty much all gardeners. You live in zones 4 through 9, which is pretty much everyone. You should have at least one of these in your yard. Super easy, super good, and everyone likes them. You can see them from far away. They're just really great plants. If you have any questions on them that I did not answer, go ahead and post in the comments. I'll do my best. I think I covered everything, but maybe you have a question I didn't get to. I'd be glad to help you with these. I've grown them for almost 20 years, so hopefully I would know the answer. Like and subscribe if you want to see more garden videos, and see you next time.